on heaven's door. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine I was a street musician right next to your favorite coffee place. Would you be willing to give me some money? Would I be successful with this average or maybe poor performance? Well, there are tons of different street musicians all over the world. Some of them, they reach for the stars. They want to become super popular. They have big dreams. Ed Sheeran, for example, has been a former street musician. But then there are those that play as a hobby. And then there are those that play for pure survival. But I wonder, what makes a street musician successful? How can we influence human generosity? That's what my co-author Kim Mirisch and I investigated in a scientific research study. My name is Samuel Stäbler. I'm an assistant professor of marketing at Tilburg University in the Netherlands. I'm a researcher, I'm a keynote speaker, and I'm a hobby musician. It is the year 2010. My younger brother Jonathan and I, we stand on the main shopping street in Karlsruhe, Germany, and we perform street music. Even though Jonathan is a great singer and musician, we wonder, how can we increase donations? How should we do things differently? What type of music should we play? This time, we want to donate the money that we collect to a charity, to a children's home in Asunción in Paraguay, where my parents used to live. But still, we go home, we collect the money, and we count the coins, and we realize, wow, we made more than 70 euros an hour. That's probably far more than I will ever earn as a professor. But still, as a professor, I was wondering, how can we increase donations? That's why my co-author and I, we conducted an extensive empirical field study. We observed how more than 80,000 pedestrians donated to 72 street musicians in the city center of Cologne. And some of the musicians we observed over a time period of 3 months. And observing street musicians in the city center of Cologne, Germany, was great, because by law, street musicians must change locations every 30 minutes. And therefore, we had the opportunity to observe quite a lot of different street musicians under very similar conditions. In research, that's what we call a quasi-experimental design. So let me give you some more detailed insights into how we collected the data. So me and my co-author, we were observing the street musicians from angles where they were not able to see us, because we did not want to influence their behavior. We were standing on the streets for hundreds of hours. In the first step, we captured musician-specific factors. For example, the quality of the music or different types of music. In a second step, we captured pedestrian-specific factors. Well, so we had a mechanical counter, click, 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 and just counted the number of people that passed by. And last but not least, we captured environment-specific factors. For example, days of the week and different weather conditions. After collecting all of the data, we ran sophisticated econometric models. We submitted the paper to a journal. It was accepted in the prestigious journal Marketing Letters, and we were actually able to determine the average earnings. On average, a street musician earns 23 euros per hour. And now I'm going to tell you under which conditions he or she can increase the average earnings. So let's focus on musician-specific factors first. For example, the type of music matters. Let's take a look at this slide. The blue dotted line indicates the average earnings. But what if he or she plays a classic piece like this one? Imagine that I played this correctly. This would work very well on the street, and he or she would earn 27 euros instead of 23 euros. But what about a pop song like Valerie?
Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things what you do, but in my head I paint a picture. 'Cause since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I missed your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me, yeah. Why don't you come on over, Valerie?
Yeah, a big applause to my wife, actually. Also, pop songs would work extremely well on the street, and he or she would earn 27 euros instead of 23 euros. However, country music, jazz music does not work very well on the street. But what about rock and heavy metal? Thank you. Even though I like rock and heavy metal, unfortunately, this would also not work well on the street, and you can see, on average, he or she would only get 11 euros. Also, the quality matters. So we recorded each musician on video, and then we had 3 professional musicians evaluate the quality of the music. So they had the scale from 1 to 5, 1 indicating low quality, 5 indicating high quality. And if the musician plays above quality, he or she would earn 28 euros instead of 23 euros. By the way, groups of musicians with kids, they earn the most. On average, 45 euros an hour. So these were all musician-specific factors that the musicians themselves can influence. But what about pedestrians? Welcome to a very nice, beautiful Saturday afternoon. Let's take a look at the shopping street. Obviously, the more people that pass by, the higher the average earnings. Yeah? That's not very surprising. But let's take a look at the pedestrians. And you see this couple over there? Yeah, we have a female and we have a male pedestrian. But who's more likely to donate? Female pedestrians or male pedestrians? Please show me your hand. Who believes that female pedestrians are more likely to donate? Oh, wow. Who believes that male pedestrians are more likely to donate? Okay, that's something I didn't expect, but the audience is great. You are totally right. Like 80% were correct, maybe even 90%, and female pedestrians are more likely to donate. Long-standing social norms about gender roles lead to unconscious biases that women should be more caring and friendlier in the society. And this might be the reason why they are also more likely to donate to street musicians. But let's continue the video for now. And do you see that lady with the yellow shirt? She's all by herself. But in the background, there's 2 other ladies. And our study shows that passers-by, accompanied by a family member, friend, or partner, are more likely to donate. And this can be explained by the principle of social recognition. According to the principle of social recognition, people donate because they expect to be perceived more favorably by those around them and therefore gain a social advantage. And maybe that's also the reason why they are more likely to donate to street musicians. All right, these were pedestrian-specific factors. But what about the environment? And ladies and gentlemen, I do have a very good buddy. He knows quite a lot about these environment-specific factors. And I do hope that we get a live connection to this guy. He's currently on TV, and it's going to be a live session. And I can tell you, this guy is also pretty handsome. So let's take a look at this.
Most interesting are our findings on environmental factors that influence the success of a street musician. Contrary to the expectations of musicians, consumers are more likely to donate when it's cold outside. So relatively more people donate when the outside temperature drops. Most likely, consumers feel greater sympathy with the busker when it's cold outside. In addition, on an emotional level, a street musician may warm us up when it's cold outside.
Yeah, so there might be less people on the street, but the individual likelihood that people donate increases. And last but not least, we also captured the days of the week. On which day does the street musician earn the most? On a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Well, the correct answer is on Sundays. And this can be related to the so-called Sunday effect. Emotions such as empathy and guilt may play a bigger role on Sundays, and therefore, people are more likely to donate. In addition, we conducted the study in Germany, right? And stores are closed on Sundays, and maybe people just go to the city center because they want to eat ice cream, because they want to get a cup of coffee, because they want to listen to street musicians. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, as I indicated earlier, this study is about human generosity and how we can influence human generosity. Yeah? And it's not just about street musicians. It's about street artists. It's about non-profit organizations that try to get donations. Yeah? So let's not forget those that perform on the street. This actually comes to an end, and I would like to take you on a journey. So please think of a beautiful, cold Sunday afternoon. Now think about a great piano player who plays some pop music. Now think about a piano player with his 10-year-old son. Now you see this 10-year-old piano player on the main shopping street. Would you be willing to donate? I believe yes. Thank you very much for your attention.